So here we are in episode 5. Still in the beginning, and we're dealing with the idea of how were we made? What was that very good way that God made us originally before we became what we are now, which obviously is not very good anymore. And we're looking at it from a restorational focus. That means we're looking at it from the idea of logic and faith. God gave us logic for a purpose. He didn't give it to us to ignore it. There are some times we need to take a leap of faith. But there's a logic involved between what God's done for us and what he's doing for us. And God's given us logic so that we can seek him out and find him. We don't ignore it. We use it here. So in the last episode, we were talking about Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And what we had said was that God formed man of the dust of the earth and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So we have this idea then that God formed us, that he put inside us billions and billions of codes and 10 to 13 subsystems, depending on which scientist you talk to. Put in different subsystems inside of us. He put us together in a way that we're ambulatory, that we're auto-ambulatory, that we're able to self-move, self-direct. He made it so that we can heal and that we can grow and on and on. He made it so that we can do what it is he put us here to do. Now, we've said that when he did that, he also put us into a relationship with the earth, and he did. We saw in Genesis 1:29 that we're commanded to eat from fruits and from the grains that grow, and that was supposed to be our meat. We were originally supposed to be vegetarians. I hate to say it, because I really love meat. But we were originally designed to be vegetarians. Okay. We were also put in the garden to dress it and to keep it. That was our job, was to take care of God's creation, his earth. And so when he formed us of the earth, he put us in relationship. And when we die, we're not hurting the earth, we're actually helping it through our death. And so the whole life cycle involves us becoming earth, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. The second thing he did was he breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life. Now, breathing is associated with life. If you have breath, you have life. And it's always been that way. If you're not breathing, you're not alive. You need to be breathing to be alive. And so we have this idea of a soul life. We became a living soul. Animals are also a living soul. When God created animals, it says that when God created animals, animals became a living soul. God calls them living creatures. Taking a look here in Genesis chapter 1, and in verse 24 and 25. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after its kind. Cattle, creeping things, beasts of the earth after its kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after its kind, and cattle after their kind, everything that creepeth upon the earth after its kind. And God saw that it was good. So we see that earlier God, and I wanted to say this and I had forgotten. Earlier when God put us in relationship with the earth, he did it because he loves his earth. He loves his creation. If we think that he doesn't love things that he's created, he loves us. If he can love us, he's got to love this earth. And so he made provisions. He put us in relationship. He didn't want to make this earth and then have it just grow wild and have no one taking care of it. And so he made mankind to take care of his creation, his earth. And as a matter of fact, here in Leviticus 25, verses 2 to 5, God says, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye are come into a land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyards, and gather the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord, and you shall neither sow thy fields nor prune thy vineyards. That which groweth of his own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of their vines undressed, for it is a year of rest for the land. God knows that the land has to work very hard to take care of the animals. It has to work hard to take care of us. It has to work hard to keep filtering out our mess and our junk. And so God gives a rest to the land so that it's working, it's working, it's working. Oh, it gets a rest. It's working, it's working, it gets a rest. They even have a jubilee in the 50th year, which is after 7 weeks of 7, that next following year. They have a jubilee day, a day of rest, a day of celebration. And it's another year, so there's 2 years that the land rests in that case. So does God take care of land? Yes, it's his creation. He loves it. He takes care of the land. And he put the land and gave them a job to take care of us. And he gave us a job to take care of it. Love you, farmers. Wish I had the green thumb. I really don't. So then we see that after he creates the land, puts us in relationship with the land, he does for us the same thing that he did for the animals. He gives us the same level of existence. He gives us a soul life. He breathed into the animals' lives and had them to produce after their own kinds, and they were living animals. He did the same thing for us. He made us to reproduce after our own kind. He breathed into us life so that we too could be alive. So when he did that, he put us into relationship with animals. We are in the same level of existence with them, on the same plane. We have a relationship to them. And that relationship, God tells us, when he puts us in dominion in chapter 1, verse 29 and 30. Oh, wait a minute. Verse 28, God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So, would it be right for us to be in charge of an animal, of animals that have soul lives, having not have a soul life ourselves and not understanding what it is they're going through? You know, we hear this argument a lot. Oh, you can't understand what I went through. Why not? I'm human, you're human. We've had human experiences. But if I wasn't human, I didn't have to breathe and I didn't have to go through some of the things you go through, I really wouldn't understand you very well. Me and a fish. You know, I've fished before. I've had fish tanks. It doesn't mean I truly understand a fish's life. I don't think I do. I have some ideas what it must be like, and I have some imaginations, but I really don't know. I'm very different from a fish. The same thing. If I don't have a soul, it would be like, you know, a piece of paper and me. So am I in charge of a piece of paper? It's not on the same level. I don't know if that's a great analogy there. Keep trying to think. Maybe, maybe not. The idea is, if I have a soul life, then I also have the right to decide who rules in my domain here, right? And so when it comes to soul lives, we say, all right, those things that have a soul, what are they? Well, birds, fish, animals, creeping things, and us. And God says that we're to subdue the earth, tame it, and that we're to have dominion. We're the ones that God has put in charge. And we see even sometimes some of the greatest animals, lions and elephants, we subdue them. And we put them into zoos, and we put them into carnivals, and some people think it's animal abuse. It's really our right as subduing to be able to subdue and to be able to demonstrate to people our submission, although I don't know, again, how well they treat those animals. But we have that right. because we have a soul life, and God has put us in charge of all the other beings with a soul life. So, how was it in the beginning? Okay, well, first we know that we're taken from the ground, that the ground is technically our mother. And because of that, we're in relationship. We're to eat from it. She takes and supplies us our food. And we're to go ahead and dress it, make sure to keep it looking nice. We see that there's a relationship with animals. God has given us a soul life, and He put us in charge. One more thing. I know the time's just about out here. Chapter 2. Verse 19. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name. And Adam gave names to cattle and fowls of the air and every beast. So the ability to name something is the ability to show ownership. And he was put in charge of others with soul life like himself because he had a soul. So God formed us from the dust of the ground, put us in relationship with the earth. It gave us the soul life just like he did animals, put us in relationship with animals. And wait till you see session 6.